Yep. How we doing, everyone? And welcome back to another edition of FSI's NASCAR DFS Pick Show. I'm your host, TK Nation 47, joined by Mega Roller 31. How we doing this evening, Mega? And are you ready for the All-Star race?
I don't know about that. I'm looking forward to the Trucks and Xfinity because it's something that's a little bit more predictable. And last week it was a road course, kind of scared, but I dominated all three, like won over a grand combined with them. So it was a great weekend. So
Absolutely. What was it? The Sonoma and Mid Ohio weekend was a very profitable weekend. Not gonna lie, the last lap crash, won me an extra $200. So I was pretty pumped to see Suarez and McDowell, drive through the infield for a little bit for while my other drivers who had wrecked probably 5 laps before them caught up and passed them on the last lap. That kind of propelled me into the multipliers and made my 121 lineup, $100, $121 lineup cash inside the top 50. So really pumped for the results of NASCAR of late. I'm pretty excited for, like you, for the Trucks and Xfinity because more normal when it comes to the standard qualifying before before an actual race and not some random 60 lap free for all with a bunch of the shitty cars. But we'll get to that when we get to that for the Cup Series. Just a small disclaimer: if you're listening to this, we are not sure about Cup content. With that being said, we have a full slate of the trucks. I'm really pumped. How about you? Is there anything you want to add on strategy and talking points before we start into our little driver by driver?
well, both Truck and Xfinity have Cup drivers in them. So I mean, there's a clear cut person that in both of them are going to be starting kind of in the middle of the field. They're going to be ultimate chalk because they probably could win the race, probably will
Yeah.
win the race, and there's place differential. And because of the road course and people getting knocked out early and just not being good road course drivers, this isn't one of the ones where the cream is already at the top when you go to pick your lineups. So, your top 10 is normally your top 10. You have a lot of interesting plays. Well, not plays, but interesting drivers that are seated way too high, that are fades. And there's a lot of guys we're going to have to make a decision for place differential, and they're not all priced up either. So we'll get to that.
Yep, I think that's perfectly said. Now we can get into our driver by driver. We have John Hunter Nemechek, the uh, I would say pending Truck Series champion. He has been the strongest driver in the field week in, week out. That is not a Cup Series driver. Is this much of the same for John Hunter Nemechek at 10-9 as your pole sitter?
Um, I think he's going to be very high owned. He's just having a phenomenal season, and I think he could end up winning this race. But at least I don't think there's really anybody that's going to get out and challenge him early. Um, we'll, we'll dig out the lead here. Chase Elliott is the Cup driver that's in here that probably will get up there and challenge him eventually for the lead. But I think he can lead enough laps early on to get it's not a super long race, but it's not like a road course last week where we really had like maybe 13 like points overall for laps led and stuff. It was a very, very low number, and it isn't like a short track where you have like hundreds of laps. It's an intermediate track. So I think you do need some of those points along with place differential. And I think Nemechek's a good place to start if you want to, lock him in as one of your cash plays to lead early before Chase Elliott gets up there. And I think you can pair both of them together if you need to.
Yeah, I think for cash standpoint, John Hunter Nemechek makes a lot of sense. 147 laps this week for the speedycash.com 220. See, I memorized it this time. Yeah.
So I'm not
Yeah.
by any means saying that he's a lock because there are some other directions you go. It is feasible in cash just to completely fade the top 10 and take a bunch of place differential guys, and that could definitely be successful too. Because
If, yeah, if you think Chase Elliott is gonna get up there quick, with the 24 truck, I think, he's driven in this truck before. I think it was when they were trying to pull, when Kevin Harvick challenged the Cup Series guys.
it was Charlotte
To,
last year, which is a very
yeah,
similar track. I used it as a
exactly.
track, and then he did ran it in Atlanta. It was this year or last year. I think he finished like second. I think he had like a pit road penalty or something like that.
Exactly. So this truck is really used to these 2 mile, 1.5 mile big ovals. So I think it's really set up for a dominating style victory. I think John Hunter Nemechek makes a lot of sense in cash, and if you wanted to pivot in GVPs, go for it. That's how I'll leave it. Ben Rhodes at 9,600, Thor Sport, the 99. He's won Daytona. I mean, that's a big oval track as well. A lot of speed. Is he a play or a fade?
Not fading him. Just with 96 is too high. Um, I just, yeah, starting too far forward. I don't see him getting what he needs to, being up front there. I think he could end up finishing outside the top 5 with some of the drivers that could get up there and
Yeah,
get them. So I'm out.
I don't think that's a bad assessment. I think the price tag is kind of what kills his number. I mean, he is a driver that is, contending for a championship. I don't want to dismiss him too soon, but at the same time,
And
I'm
it's
really
good
locked.
intermediate tracks too.
Yeah, I'm just really locked in on John Hunter and Chase, and then I'm gonna figure out the rest and just try to build 20 to 40 lineups that way. And if Ben Rhodes beats me, then Ben Rhodes beats me. I think that's where I'm gonna plant my flag.
He could
Next,
win the race, but he only gets 1 place differential point. There's no like super bonus for winning the race in DFS NASCAR.
exactly, and I don't see him dominating.
Right.
So what's the point? Exactly. If he does win, sure, he might be in the optimal, but there's a very good chance that he might win at the last second, and he's not. So I think that's probably the only way he could win on strategy and just maybe a random wreck at the end. So for that reason, yeah, I'm with you. More on the fade. Carson Hocevar, really fast truck for the Nice Motorsports, 7,700. Is this too expensive in the 3 spots? That's pretty
No,
high up.
I think it's a GPP play. I'm not playing him in cash. I again, I don't know if he can stay in the top 5. He's had an amazing season so far. 77 isn't a bad price for him, but it would take a lot to go right for him to end up in the ultimate lineup. So I'm not crossing him off like I'm crossing some of the other guys off, but I'm I'm not too warm and fuzzy on him.
Yeah, GPP dart for me. I'm not. I mean, I'm sold on this guy's driving ability and the car. I think they're both fast. Like he's really good fast driver. The car is pretty fast. I question
He's getting a lot
whether or not.
of mediocre equipment. This is a pretty amazing job for this guy.
Yeah, exactly. And third spot though is that's what really takes me off of the play itself. So GPP dart, maybe like 1 or 2 random flyers, but nothing heavy. Todd Gilliland starting in the 4th spot for the Front Row Motorsports, 8,800. Your
Um,
thoughts?
he's a fan. I know he's been hot. I know he's been,
He has been a good car
he's
or truck.
finished in the top like 5. I think like the last 7 races or something like that. I think I saw in studying
Yeah.
on this, but again, I think it's just a little too much.
Yeah, Todd Gilliland, not a strong play in my opinion at the $8,800 price tag. I agree with you that he has been a hot driver. I'm questioning whether or not he has the ability to sustain 147 laps up in the top 5 to really pay off that salary with some finishing position. I just question I just question it, and I just think there's better plays farther down the line.
Yep.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Next up, we have Austin Hill at 10K. This is a driver that has the ability to take some laps led, some fastest laps into any night. I don't mind it, but I'm not going to be overly exposed. Like, I don't want too much ownership on Austin Hill.
He's going to be the fourth best driver in this race because you actually have two Cup drivers. So between
Okay.
he, Nemechek, and Elliott, and you have
Ross
Ross
Chastain.
Chastain
Yeah.
in here too. So GPP at 10K, I think, I'm going to throw him in my GPP line. I think he'll be like the centerpiece of that because I think could he get out there and dominate and win? Yes, he's been okay at these tracks. He's got a great truck. He's got a great team. It's just, can he beat the other three guys? So.
Yeah. I just think I agree with you. I just think if there's anyone inside this top 10 that has the ability to lead laps that's not named John Hunter Nemechek, like starting inside the top 10, I think it would be Austin Hill. The 10K price tag kind of throws me off a little bit because now you're left with the decision: do I play Chase and Hill, or do I play, Chase Chastain or Chase Nemechek? I just think that if he was like 9K instead of 10K, he would probably be a main fixture in most of my lineups. But instead, I think he's just going to be, 5 to 6 lineups tomorrow with different combinations of value and one of the other studs, which is fine, but a part of the 20 max tomorrow. Stuart Friesen is a driver I'm having trouble figuring out why he's 9K and where the field will be on him.
It's track history. 4 top 10s, I think, in the last 5 starts or 6 or 7 starts, something like that. He's had 2 second place finishes too. So I think it's track history that they're really looking at here. 9K is a little expensive. GPP, if you think, he's really good at this track. I think he's one of these guys that's been around a long time. I think we were making fun of the Cup video of like Kevin Harvick and Kurt Busch, where we're like, oh yeah, they've had 8,000 top 5s, but they've run 20,000 races there. So it's just like you race there enough, you're gonna end up having some of those statistics. But I think the thing with Friesen is it's recent. It's not like over a 20-year career he's had 4 top 10s. It's within the last like 6 or 7 races. So
my thoughts are, if I land on him, why not? I don't know. Like I'm really building around the Nemechek, Chastain, Elliott format here, and I just don't know if I'm going to have enough salary to get to 9K with the rest of my lineup.
No, and there's a guy that's a much better play for 200 more, and there's a guy that's a much better play for 600 less. So he's kind of no man's land there.
He is a no man's land. I think you'll get low ownership on him as well. And if you feel like he's going to be able to finish inside the top 5, then pull the trigger. But otherwise, look for a better play down the road here. Next up, we have Zane Smith in the 21 truck 9,800. This is too high of a salary for me.
Yeah, and I'm fading him because these GMS trucks scare me. And Elliott's in a GMS truck, but they don't have sponsorship. So they're going to end up lose without the sponsorship money. How can you run a team? Like, you gotta be cutting corners someplace. And I just don't think that they're going to have as much money to do as much like testing and do as much, with research on like engines and things like that, or replacing parts. I think when they wreck trucks, they're gonna put them back together with duct tape and bubble gum, and not as bad as some of these smaller teams, but it's kind of scary. So I'm kind of on GMS.
I will say I pick my spots with GMS. Like, there's some spots I like. Maybe cars that run the similar tracks, like maybe something like this where they've already had testing done, or they've already had a race done at Charlotte, so they've seen a similar style, so they know based on those numbers that they can use that data to try to set up their Texas truck. Plus, this is a team that's been around a while, so I mean, there is ways to get around the lack of funds. It's just, you know, parts are like the big issue when it comes to funds. So maybe they don't have enough money for parts. Four team, so a 4-man team too. So
Right.
I'd have to think Chase is bringing up his own sponsorship and maybe some of his own, backing and as far as funds and stuff. So I'm not worried about his truck.
Yeah, and the
Uh,
23 Purdy had some too. It's just pretty much been like Smith and Ankrum and Creed that have had nothing.
exactly. And it kind of shows like this Creed was, a sponsored truck last year. He won it all. This year it's a little different story. So I think your analysis is pretty on point with that. Chandler Smith starting 8th, 8,600. I don't mind this price tag. Driver that can get it done if he stays on the track and keeps the car clean. I think 8th is a little too high, but the price tag isn't too bad, but still just kind of in between in no man's land.
Yeah, not super interested there. So yeah.
We're getting warmer. I promise we're getting warmer. Derek Kraus in the 19, 7,500. Any love for the 19?
I would never use love when it comes to Derek Kraus.
There he is.
Um,
All right, I'm good on Derek Kraus as well.
like
Too high. Started too high.
yeah, for his equipment and his talent, 75 is too high a pricing, starting too high.
Yeah. Out on Kraus. Drew Dollar, Kyle Busch Motorsports, racing in the 51. 7,400 is not a bad price tag for a very fast truck. The driver can be sketchy at times, but 7,400, I like to bet 7,400 on that kind of truck that I've seen win races.
Yeah, I have him as a cash play only because I think he's going to be very, very popular. I'm definitely going to be underweight on him, but
Okay,
I,
that's good. That's good.
I marked him as cash. I see it. I get it. But
Yep.
he is not the Ty Gibbs of the truck series. And I think
No.
that's what some people think is, it's the same situation. It's a Gibbs car that they rotate through, and Ty Gibbs has just been phenomenal in it. And Drew Dollar has had success in ARCA, but I just don't see him getting out here like he's a rookie. They don't have practice or anything. And he really hasn't, he's done well in ARCA, but I think if he kind of worked his way up in the truck series, I'd be a little bit like if he drove for like Nice or something like that and then slid into this ride, I'd be excited. But
yeah, he's clearly going to take his lumps right now, being the youngster that he is. And they've, if you've noticed, they haven't raced him every week, every weekend that Kyle Busch is not in this 51, or it's not like a road course, or it's not like a small short track or something. They put him in these intermediate tracks, big 2-mile ovals, just to get him warmed up to the speeds and to how normal races operate. You could totally tell he's a prospect for this 51 team. I think the price tag is going to attract a lot of ownership, like you said. But I don't mind it in covering your bases, kind of like style GPP. Like if you go in pretty contrarian, or you're going pretty like, heavy with a lot of chalk and you kind of just want to get a little different from the field, I don't mind Drew Dollar in that sense. Or if you're going contrarian and some value and you're left with, Drew Dollar or Tyler Ankrum, I guess I'd pick Dollar.
Yeah, definitely, because we were talking about GMS truck, and I've already made my feelings known about that.
Yeah, that is who is next in the 11th spot, 7,900. I like the savings with Dollar. Any love for Haley Deegan starting 12th, 6,400?
Actually, yeah, I don't really.
You love her.
Well, she is cute, but she's like a year older than my daughter who just graduated. So,
right. I think she just turned 18. That's a little bit too young.
I think she's 19. But anyways, who's counting?
Nice.
So, but no, like I said, I have a respect for her because whether she was male or female, just the way she has done it and the way that she actually has, like, we talk about Drew Dollar and he's like being fast tracked, but she's out there running every single race
Yeah.
and she is like trying to learn from the other drivers. So, like, I just see like the articles about how she's really there and like studying and like asking questions, and when she messes up she like wants to analyze it and figure out why, and there hasn't been like, she's been solid. So I think
Very
12
solid.
12 is a little, and the truck seems to be good too. It seems to be holding up. It's not a huge team, and
Big
it,
sponsorship with Monster Energy.
yeah,
That's gotta be helping with money and parts.
right. So again, I think she can get up into the top 10, possibly maybe gain a spot or so. It's risky, but the price point's okay, and I just from what I've seen, she probably could finish in the top 15. So
I think we're getting to the Yeah, I think we're getting to the point in the season where a lot of these small teams are kind of running out of parts, running out of equipment, and someone with the financial backing like Deegan, who's been really consistent, hasn't wrecked a lot of cars, consistently drove inside the top 15.
and there's
I
a
think
reason that she's starting this high, because
exactly.
she's been doing
She's
well.
been that good. Exactly. And she's had a couple of top tens. 6,400 is too cheap. I'm totally in on Haley Deegan this weekend. I'm like you. I've been waiting for a little bit just to see what to expect. She's taken some lumps, but now she's kind of really found her groove. Problems can always arise, but I really like her consistency, and I think she has the ability as well. Like you said, she might be a big fixture into this series to come, and pretty
And this is
exciting,
a
really.
technical track too. If it was like her first time
Exactly.
out on like Martinsville or Bristol or like one of those, like, or Dover,
She just raced this race at Charlotte, and
yeah,
she's did Atlanta, and she's done Phoenix, and she's gotten these
rookie
mile
cup.
and a half. Yeah,
Tell you where it's a
she's
little bit different on some of them, but this,
sure,
yeah,
but she's getting used to these ovals, and I think this race could be another one where she's running inside the top 15, and I love that at 6,400.
her
Totally
average
on.
running position in Charlotte was 12.7.
Yeah, if she finished where she starts, she's paying off 6,400. So totally on board. Austin Wayne Self 63, starting 13th.
Is he
Decent
like
truck.
Joe Martin's like the same guy?
Yes.
I honestly
Are
feel
they in
like
the same room?
the same like pedigree, the same like, the same way you treat him in DFS.
He's actually Corey LaJoy too in the Cup Series.
No, you got to find a guy with 3 names.
Oh, okay. I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Oh, Bubba
Austin Wayne,
Wallace.
Bubba Wallace, Bubba. Nice. There's some content for you. Austin Wayne Self is, I think he's always a
It's like
GPP play.
sounds like a country singer.
Kenny Wayne Shepherd. That's what you're thinking of.
Huh. Blonde Black.
Yeah, that's right. A little blues for you. I'm going GPP, but I'd
Yeah,
rather play Deegan.
yeah, but he's the guy that you want to be starting 25th.
Yeah.
And you'll play him because he'll end up top between probably 15 and 20. But
Yeah.
this is way too high. So the price is
Yeah.
okay, but he's starting too high.
Right. That's what I like more about Deegan. Is she has the ability to finish from 13 to 7th. And Wayne Self is the kind of guy, like you said, that's 20s to 16 or 15. But he's already starting where we want him to finish, and we're not sure if he's going to be able to finish where he starts. So there's your analysis. Ryan
No.
Truex.
Move on.
You hate Ryan Truex so
I do not hate him.
Yes,
If he was 30th, I would play him, but I'm not playing him at 14.
No, I'm with you. That's crazy. It's crazy to play him this high. I do play him from time to time. You do not. I understand, but I'm with you this week. Truex is
He's the
starting way
brother of
too
my
high.
my youngest daughter's favorite driver. So
Exactly.
you need to sprinkle him in every so often.
You have to. It's good luck. But Truex starting too high. Fade. Crafton 15,9,200. Remember when we were talking about Zane Smith and Stuart Friesen and all these guys and starting around the top 5? Well, Crafton's a better play at 15.
Yeah, where I said $200 more.
Yep,
Then
I knew that's exactly what you're talking about. Yeah,
definitely. And he's got a great track history here too. Like he's probably raced here like 50 times, but
yeah.
I think he's got a top 10 average finish. So
Yeah, Crafton's going to be a guy I stretch for in GBP lineups.
and I think he's cash playable here too, just with his
Sure.
history. He's 15th. He's got a top 10 truck. So
If you fade, Hunter Nemechek and you go, you could make a lineup with Chase Elliott, Matt Crafton, and Value. I think that's a fair strategy for GBPs. It's something I've been thinking about, looking over the starting grid and the salaries. So next guy, I'm not really sure I'm in on, Sheldon Creed at 10.5. I think you're probably going to be on the same side as me here.
no, I think he's going to be massive chalk.
No, I mean, just from our standpoint, like where are we standing
Well,
with Sheldon Creed?
he led like 120 laps last year at this race.
But this is a different Sheldon Creed this year.
Yeah.
It hasn't been the same.
Yeah, the lack of. Is it that, or is it just because like John Hunter Nemechek, and it just seems like this year we've had so many more like Kyle Busch races. Like last year, it wasn't. They were more concentrated because like when they came back from COVID, it seemed like he was all in on those. But this year, it's been. I can't really say it's a normal schedule, but it seems like a more normal schedule for the truck series. I just wonder, once we cycle out all these these cup drivers coming in, besides like Hunter Nemechek, he's I don't know. I think you're right, but I think people will see that he's the former champion, and 10.5 is way too high.
Exactly. That's why I'm out.
Yeah.
Too high.
Yeah.
He's not going to fit.
I think I'm going to change my sheet to a GPP.
I'm not going to be able to play him in Hunter Nemechek and Chase Elliott lineups.
He could be super highly owned because he's.
I think that's great.
Yeah, starting the 16th position, people are going to see the place differential and their
Go
eyes.
for it. Yeah, when he finishes maybe 7th, I don't think that pays off 10.5.
Right. True.
I think you're going to need the laps led, and I don't see him dominating over Chase Elliott or John Hunter Nemechek or a random Austin Hill or a random Ross Chastain.
Right.
So if he's the 5th best driver in this field, I don't think the place differential is enough to pay off the price tag. So for that reason, I am out. You've already used the displeasure of the GMS Racing team this year, so it's all working in favor of the fade.
Okay.
Next up, we have Johnny Sauter starting 17th, Thor Sport 8,300. The price tags come down a lot on Johnny Sauter, and I've seen him flirt with some top 5s. He's got a problem closing, but any love for Mr. Sauter?
He's another one with great track history here. I think he's won 4 or 5 races here.
Yeah.
Again, he's probably raced like 25, 30 times at this track.
Yeah, this is a very, very, very seasoned veteran.
Yeah, he's a veteran. He's not as bad as like Tate Fulgerman, who's like way over all the way down to the bottom of the other side.
Don't mess with my guy Fogelman.
But
Go ahead.
He's GPP. Like 8.3 is a little too much for him, but with the track history being in the Thor truck, I'm okay with him. I like the next guy a lot better because he's finally back in the Thor sports truck, and he was trucking garbage material and
back in the 98
was actually getting a pretty good performance out of it.
Right. He was in the 23. He was in Purdy's car, wasn't he?
No. He was
or 25, right? I can't think of the car number.
Jordan Anderson one?
Oh, you know what? He might have been, because Jordan Anderson's out with COVID still, I think.
No, he's back. He's actually driving his own car. Never mind.
I think he's in Xfinity.
No, he was in Cody Robal's.
Oh, that's right. Yes. And he was getting something out of that truck. starting in the
Yeah,
back.
he was taking like a 25th place truck and in the top 15. So I mean, barely in the top 15. But
I kind of like Thor Sport heading into tomorrow. I like him over GMS, like you said, and the 98 Grant Infinger and the 13 of Johnny Sauter. I think I'll have some exposure to them in GPP lineups. I think Sauter, that price tag's a little bit more easier to fit into builds.
yeah,
Grant Infinger and maybe, Chase Elliott lineup or something like that. We still have much to talk about. There's still roster construction to be made.
yep.
But, Thor Sport, I think I'm on board tomorrow with them. Next up, we have Chris Wright, Young Motorsports, not a bad vehicle or not a bad truck manufacturer. Any love for Chris Wright, the road course ringer?
Yeah, it's the he's starting higher than I want him, but at 45, even if he
That's
finishes
super cheap.
if he finishes 25th, I think he's viable.
I think he's viable as a dart, but nothing more.
Yeah, I'm changing. I had him fade originally, but I think I'm gonna switch him to a GPP.
I would only play him if I'm trying to squeeze Nemechek, Chase,
If
and
you're going if you're going three kings.
yeah, exactly. I think he's viable for that reason. I would rather play him over Benning and McGee and Joe Cobb.
Those guys can't even stay on the. Well,
Exactly.
We'll split those hairs at the end.
Exactly. Next up, we have Tanner Gray in the 15 DGR. Crosley, not a bad truck manufacturer, 7,200, starting 20th. I mean, we play Tanner Gray often.
Yeah. 72, 20.
Right. I would rather have 64, 66,
Yeah.
starting 20th.
The problem with him is, I mean, they felt he wasn't living up to expectations early on the season. And I think he was like anywhere like around like a 20th place driver. They fired his pit crew or something, and then they changed crew chiefs, and now he's been like
Yeah, he's back.
25th. So like they've gone even further backwards. So if he was struggling to get to top 20 with the first crew chief, and now they fired him, and now he's like averaging about 25th, then he's starting 20th. So I mean he's 5 spots ahead of like where he's probably going to end up. So if he started 30th, this would be the perfect scenario.
Okay. I'm on board with the fade.
I think he's
I'm
going to have high ownership because I think people recognize the name and like, hey, this is a guy that we played and we trust, and I just don't think
trusted value.
But I don't think they've really looked at the lineup and like how he's finished and stuff. I think people, some people they play DFS and like they build the lines and they got the rest of the guys right, and Tanner Gray just happened to be along for the ride and didn't do like accumulated points, but didn't do anything like to hurt their lineup. So they think, okay, this is the magic formula. We're just going to throw them again, but not really looking at, hey, if I played somebody else, I would have not only like cash, but I might have done even better.
Yeah, I like Haley Deegan and Drew Dollar a little bit more as far as value plays, but I certainly don't think Tanner Gray is going to be a fade though for me. I think I might have like one or two. Next up, we have Corey Roper in the in the 04 truck 5,500 fade.
Yeah, fade.
All right, Chase Elliott. We've kind of really already buried or talked about this. 11.8 too high for you in cash?
No way. He was like it was like 1,400. And
I'm trying to just bring something up to talk about. No, he's not.
Look at
too
the
high.
prices they threw on Kurt Busch. Now Chase Elliott isn't in Busch's truck and like that program and everything. So obviously there's an advantage, but Chase Elliott was a very good truck series.
They're not going to let Chase Elliott walk into a truck that's not ready to win.
Yes.
So this truck's going to be fine.
Yes.
Not worried.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Dawson Cram, 6,800. Cram Racing.
Way too high. 68.
Usually starting like 40th, Dawson Cram.
Yeah.
No thanks. Ross Chastain, the 45 Nice Motorsports, 10-2, not too expensive.
No, it's
Like
just
him over Creed.
his aggression, can
Yeah,
he's not here to be satisfied with getting like a top 10 or a top 5.
he's gonna go to win.
He got great
He's
back.
racing to win.
He's
I
got
I respect that though, and I love it.
absolutely nothing to lose.
Right. He's gonna be trying to get up there with Chase. He's gonna be behind Chase the whole night.
Yep.
I don't mind it though, because he's starting
Swinging
far
for
enough
the
back for me.
fences.
Yeah. Yeah, gonna be in a lot of lineups. Tyler Hill, Hill Motorsports, 5,900.
They haven't had a bad season, whether it's been he or his brother. So I'm kind of intrigued here. I actually have him as one of my favorite value plays here.
Oh, 5,900 is the cheapest we've talked about that we've liked the most. Timmy Hill is usually driving this car. I feel a little bit safer with him than I do Tyler, his younger brother,
Well,
but
Tyler ran at Texas last year and he had a top 15 finish.
there you go. Enough said. Tyler Hill, prime value for the FSI crew, because that's all I need to hear. Repeat performance, and we are good. 6,100 Spencer Boyd, Young Motorsports.
Uh, GPP, I don't love him, don't hate him. So
He's gotten better as the season's gone on. Spencer Boyd. He wasn't doing too hot early on, but his finishes are getting better. 6,100's not too expensive either. Next up, we have Brendan Poole, On Point Motorsports. This is a name I haven't heard in a while.
yeah, he hasn't raced yet this season in trucks, but he was actually pretty much a staple last year.
Oh, we
And
used to play
he's
him a
very-
ton.
Yeah, he's very strong at this track, and I think 7,000 is a reasonable price for him to dip his toe into the water and to.
So this is who we play over Tanner Gray.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
There it is. I love it. Brendan Poole. Yeah, Brendan Poole. He was in the Cup Series racing the 15, wasn't
Yeah.
he?
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
wonder what the
he
heck
was
happened.
the Ryan Priest of last year, or a couple
Right.
years ago. Or like
You know,
Ty
like-
Dillon,
Or like the Corey LaJoy this year,
yeah,
where he was
exactly.
getting consistent top high 20 finishes
I mean,
with a
he's a little bit
sub 5K truck or
Yeah.
car.
Yeah.
All right. I like that. Brendan Poole tomorrow. Chase Purdy, 6,600, 28th. You love to hate this guy.
Okay, there's like, it's like a seesaw here, okay? Because you have Chase Purdy, who's really struggled this season, but we know he's a good driver. And he's starting 28th. And he's only 6,600, but he's driving a GMS truck.
I could
So if
I could see things
anybody-
breaking in
anybody
your
keeping
head right
score
now.
here, like where did we end up?
We got to make a pros and cons list, and
Yeah.
whatever we have less of is where we lean on Chase Purdy. I think he's
I think
worth
he's
a
cash
play.
I think just at that pricing, he did really well at this track last year.
They're making you play him. That's what they're doing.
Yeah,
They're making you play him. Price tag, starting position. It's just all lined to, okay, I have to play Purdy this week. If it doesn't work, then next week I just go back to not playing Chase Purdy.
but he's got 18 more place differential potential points than Haley Deegan, who we said we'd play at $400 less. So
I think that's where we're
$100
splitting our ownership. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he's a little bit safer than Spencer Boyd, maybe a little bit safer than Tyler Hill. I think you will play, all of them, but that's just the reality of the situation here. They've made it bulletproof for Chase Purdy. Jesse Awuju,
just
I
have
can't
a truck
pronounce,
or a golf cart out there, because like it's just
always last.
like puttering around the track.
Half the time he doesn't even make speed.
Yeah.
So no. Howie DiSavino the third, driving Jordan Racing, the number 3. The number
Like Mr. Howell from Gilligan's Island or something. Like,
DiSavino. No thanks.
well,
Too high. Too
this will
high.
be his second race. He's driving the Jordan Anderson truck, and this truck has been fast.
Yeah, I can't trust the driver. I don't know anything about them. 6,700 is pretty expensive to find out.
He started one race. He started 34th. He finished 35th. So, but yeah, but he didn't have the Jordan Anderson truck. So
Okay.
I don't know.
Maybe I'll look into Jordan Anderson's track
Yeah,
history
yeah,
and
he's intriguing, but again, like as we look at it, like 67, I'd rather probably take Chase Purdy for 100 less. Yeah.
right.
Yep.
So we'll tilt Howie beating Chase
Yeah.
Purdy tomorrow. That's
Yeah.
what'll
I'm
happen.
going to leave for this next one. Okay. So
Tate Fogelman, starting 31st in the 12 truck, 5,700. You know, TK will have a few darts on his old pal Fogelman, but other than that, you shouldn't play him. Jenny Joe Cobb, that's always a no. Josh Berry starting 33rd in the
Lock.
Rackley War 25, 8,400. That is a cash play.
yeah, I'd lock him in, even though he's 84. I'd try to make him work with your other two studs. This truck hasn't been the greatest truck, but the people have been driving it have been probably more of the
I don't know how they keep getting drivers of caliber to drive this truck though.
yeah, but
That's what I get. That's what I don't get.
but I think he's
Like, who do they know? I don't know.
having an amazing season at Xfinity.
Yeah,
You know, he
he's
had
a good
couple
talent. He's a talent.
pickups early on, and I think that you know this will show us how good of a driver he is, because this truck has been a challenge, and
Yeah.
but you're only paying 8,400, so it's not like you're paying 10K for an Xfinity driver coming in here or something like that. And I think he's going to get ahead of Cobb, Fulgerman, Davis, Vino the third.
Cram, Roper,
Yeah,
Chris Wright.
yeah, we can name about 10 trucks right now that he can roll out of bed and finish ahead of.
I mean, he's even probably going to finish ahead of Poole.
He could drive a riding long,
You know,
probably beat like 10 of them.
probably Ryan Truex after he wrecks. So Derek Kraus after he runs into Ryan Truex. Yeah, Josh.
Job in Atlanta or wherever that was.
Yeah, that was.
And he did have
the low point.
He did have the double burn episode, but he did get turned there. He wasn't.
He had a 2-week spell. It was pretty black eye-ish, but he's been really solid.
He's been like top 5. So yeah,
I'm with you. Keith McGee, Norm Benning, and Ray Cicerelli. Any love for those three to round it out?
McGee's a deep GPP pun. I think he's not a bad driver. Doesn't have much experience, but I think he's viable here. Norm Benning's an absolute no. And Ray Cicerelli really hasn't raced much in truck this year, but his average running position is like 26. So like I can see 5 place differential points. I think if the equipment holds up, if you need a punt, like why not? Because even if he doesn't even leave the starting line, he's not gonna lose you any points.
Right. So. I think he could finish around 29th, and I think that'd be okay for 4,800. So I would like Ray out of the 3. Okay, well, that is the field. Mega, any final thoughts on the truck series at Texas Motor Speedway?
No, I think it's a lot of good drivers in here, and it's just
it is going to be a fun race.
Yeah, I think it's just nailing the right combination of the top guys and the few place differential guys, and I think it's those final people in your lineup are what's really going to make it break it, because if everybody builds with like Barry, throws in Tyler Hill for a cheap value, has Chase Elliott, has Nemechek, then the other 2 are, and I don't have a calculator in front of me, so I have no idea how much is left.
Sure.
Range it's going to be. I haven't looked at that build yet, but I think that's what's going to make the difference there.
Hopefully they go Creed while we go Chastain, or if they go
don't rotate Fogelman.
Awesome stuff, Mega, as always. But that will do it for the truck series at Texas Motor Speedway. Yeah, like and subscribe this video and stay tuned for the Xfinity series that follows and the Xfinity series video that will follow this. Okay, thank you.
Change my clothes, or can I just do it like this?
You just don't change your clothes.
Do we need to hit wardrobe?
Spoiler alert, we will be in the same clothing. So I hope you're not disappointed by that. All right. Thank you. Like this video and then watch the Xfinity video for the 4 o'clock race. Okay. Thanks and see ya.